Hello, welcome to episode 5 of Evermore, back on track. And this is always the watershed moment when lyrics appear. So now we've got a song rather than some vague, insubstantial piece of instrumental music. Pauline sang for me at the weekend. She's just getting better and better. It's amazing to see her confidence improving, and the speed with which she can record great vocals is getting quite impressive now. We didn't need to do more than 2 or 3 takes of any individual phrase in this song. Anyway, you're going to hear it in a minute. So lots of other stuff to talk about. Quite a few new musical ideas have been introduced, and I've really settled into this idea of starting the song in one vibe and then switching halfway through. So hopefully you'll hear that. Lots to talk about in this one. Let's just crack on. So now we've really got a song. All we have to do is polish it now, find out where everything fits. Certainly the middle sections where I'm messing around with keyboard sounds at the moment are all very disjointed, and that's the very latest thing that I did was add this new synth line. And at the moment, and when I played it back to you then, it was way too high in the mix because I've literally just recorded it. So I've taken this, I'm doing this recording now as a kind of snapshot, think, oh, I've got lots to talk about here. I want to catch it at this moment, but it really is still just completely in flux. So this keyboard line down here that we've got is just Hallian thing. It's called Flyer. So that's just adding some depth to the solo when it's doing its thing, and I think it's a good idea and will definitely fit, but I need to find a way to make it more bedded in. Falling down for evermore. It's not bad. So just pulling it down a little bit in the mix. As I was playing the song, I realised it was too loud, and the song had pretty much been through it by that point, but I did pull it down a little bit in the mix. Obviously, when you get to the mastering stage, you're really messing around with volumes then and riding the faders and whatnot, but during song construction, I think it's really important to have everything at least basically in the right place. Otherwise, it distorts your view of what the song is. If that sound is too loud, if that synth part is too loud, it colours your opinion of what else is needed in the song, and it's really difficult to maintain any kind of focus. So I try to always make sure it's at least reasonably right. Now, coming out of this one, coming out of the solo, we then head back into a very subdued section where we have a second Hallian. As it happens, I'm doing a little bit of a deep dive in Hallian at the moment, so while I'm there, I'm finding sounds that I like and just dropping them into the song. So we come out of the flyer sound into freak wave. That's fine, that works pretty well. The difficulty where it doesn't work quite so well is into the next section. Can't help but wonder who I am. So that's a jarring joint there. Now, so this is something that I'll definitely, work on and try to get that tighter and more integrated. It might be that the freak wave sound extends into this bridge section. So this 8-bar section here is unique. It only happens once in the song, and it has its own distinct character. And a large part of that is informed by the tremolo guitar sound, this thing that's going on over here. Eventually. Obviously, that's really driving home that kind of dreamy, otherworldly state that this section wants to be in. It's almost like a trance moment when the subject of the song is in reflection and considering their role with the world. Like I mentioned on a previous video, the original inspiration for this song was the Greek story of Sisyphus, and it's almost completely left that behind now. It was a great starting point, and that image is clear in my mind as I'm writing the lyrics, but they've become something else now. And I did struggle in earlier episodes of One Man and His Songs as to how much I was really supposed to talk about the lyrics and the meaning behind each individual word or phrase or sentiment, and I've come to the conclusion that I shouldn't. That it's okay for me to give you the lyrics and say, there you go, there are my lyrics, and I'm even happy to show you evolutions of lyrics. In this particular case, this is the first time I've given them to you, and that they're pretty much locked in. I thought Pauline singing was brilliant. It works. It's just one of those wonderful moments that just seemed right straight away. But obviously there are 15 versions of previous lyrics that I didn't actually present to you as they were evolving, and I'll reconsider that decision and just try to figure out exactly why that happened. But I don't want to go too deep into the whole, what does this sentence mean? What's this song about? I think that's not what art's all about. You shouldn't have to or want to explain emotional states like that. I think that's a bad idea. So anyway, moving on. When we come into this new section, we also have the introduction of a new drum sound, and again, this has just happened today, so at the moment it's very bare. I've literally just taken a new sound out of Groove Agent, dropped it in, and it sounds great, and I won't need to fiddle that much with it to really get it how I exactly want it, but we've got this See, the second sound is cleaner. It's got a really quite sharp sound to it, and I felt that was what was needed in the song. The drums have just become wishy-washy and average, and that's largely because they're just doing the same thing continuously for the last 3 minutes. So obviously, more work needs to be done on making the drums dynamic and really bringing them to the fore, or to where they need to be. But I thought when I break into this section here, the dream state scene, if you like, I wanted a brand new sound. And so the way that I'm tending to do that these days, and I think this is a decent kind of evolution of my ideas, is I've got 2 drum sounds going, Groove Agent 1 and Machine 2 for the majority of the song, and I've dropped one of them out. So I take Groove Agent 1 out and leave Machine ticking along in the background, and so when the new drum beat comes in, there's a continuity. If I take both of these away, there is actually a completely continuous sound going along in the background. Okay, so Machine is helping to carry across that transition, and if that's not there and we just have these two, then it's a little bit more. So those are 2 very different drum sounds that would be jarring on their own, but as long as they've got something else tying them together, I think it works pretty well. So I can imagine that will be a thing that I'll play with more when I'm writing songs. Try to have multiple sources of drum sounds and just leave one alone when you bring a new thing in, and just to help that merging process between the sounds. At the beginning of the song, we've got the new guitar intro, which I'm really happy with. I think sometimes, simple is just best. Just a nice sound. A little bit of distortion. But mostly clean. So that's thanks to a Fender Deluxe Reverb amp. It's an emulation of a very similar. I own a Fender Twin, so I clearly gravitate towards this sound. Fenders make great amps. So a little bit of tremolo, almost no treble on the sound. You just get the warm depth of the Fender amp coming through, and I recorded it twice. Currently they're both panned centrally, but these 2 guitar tracks are actually different different takes. And like I say, I no longer write music panning anything because I want to catch anything that's going to get damaged when I do my mono sum in the mastering process. So I'm recording everything flat right in the middle, and then when I come to master, then I'll start separating things out, and hopefully that it's ready to go. I'm baking stereo into the sound. Pauline's voice, fantastic, obviously. Bit of processing on it. I'm getting to the stage at the moment where I have to be dangerous not to do it absolutely by default, but I've discovered that adding these two compressors to her voice and having both of them reasonably light just works really well. So if I get this just chugging along in the background.
Have your little victory, have your sport. This is how madness grows. This is how lives are bought and sold.
So just with no processing, I'll take the reverb off as well.
Running up a river of stone.
It's great, it's in tune, sounding
Like
nice,
a memory
toneful,
of home.
and the compressors just
Then, just as before,
help with the
falling down forevermore.
some of the volume dips, we cover with compression, just fattens and thickens the sound out and gives her a little bit more juice. But really, it's this 670 that takes it to the next level, as far as I'm concerned. I'll just
in the morning, feel so cold. This is where sadness goes. This is what wild men know.
Now, there is a little bit of a volume change there as well, so that will be fooling your ears slightly. But on top of that, the 670 is just thickening the sound out. It's a really wonderful emulation of a Fairchild 670, and it is fantastic. And you can see
have your little victory,
about 3 dB of
have
compression.
your sport. This is how madness grows. This is how lives are bought and sold.
We have a de-esser.
Running up a river of stone.
Just taking a little bit of that sibilance away. At the moment, the EQ is doing
Feeling
basically
like
nothing.
a memory of home.
Just nicking out a tiny little bit.
Then,
But
just as before.
I don't want to do too much heavy EQ at this point because we're still writing the song. That's the kind of fine control stuff that I really want to leave till later in the process. But again, when you get the vocals sounding as good as possible at this stage without doing too much to them, so that the song can wrap itself around her voice. When you drop that in, particularly, I don't think I put the reverb back in, did I? All that together, she just plops exactly where she needs to be in the song, and everything just sounds wonderful.
Then, just as before, falling down forevermore.
It's not quite right with that synth sound, is it? It's still a little bit jarring when it comes in. Bit of work to be done on that. But generally speaking, we're coming along. Progress is being made. We definitely have a song now. Just a case of finding a few little more musical articulations and places where I think maybe I can add something. And a lot of that's going to be trial and error. Just listening to various parts of the song and seeing if I can fit maybe more guitar. I'm quite happy to pick the guitar up and do a few more lines over the top and see if that works. Perhaps more synth lines, I don't know. But anyway, there we are. Very happy with how this one's progressing. Hope you are too. And if you subscribe to my channel and hit notifications, then you'll find out when episode 6 comes out. Hope to see you then. Thanks very much for watching.